Hello, I'm Chris with the Mobile Internet Resource Center, here to give you an unboxing of a new product we have just received. This is a Pepwave MAX BR1 Mark II. And Mark II here is the exciting thing. We've had the Pepwave MAX BR1, the prior version, since February 2015, and that was a minor revision to the original MAX BR1, the February 2015 version. What was exciting about that was it was the first relatively affordable device we know of that was a universal cellular device that you could put in SIM cards from Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint, and switch between carriers with one cellular device. So for nomads on the road who had multiple carriers, which is redundancy of multiple carriers is one of our top recommendations, it was an amazing thing to have. But that was 2015, and it grew long in the tooth, and we've been waiting for an updated version, and it's here at last. So let's take a look at it, and then I'll tell you about the differences between what makes the Mark II better than the original. There's the Max Series Quick Start Guide. The Pepwave Max Series and the Surf Soho all use the same firmware software. And we have a hefty little metal box here. This is the router. I'll get to this in a second. I'll see what else is in the box, and then we'll talk about what's there. We have, this is a little GPS puck antenna. This is a AC power supply. And we know from experience the Pepwave Max line actually can take almost any DC voltage. I think it's 12 to 36 volts, so you can easily wire this into easily wire directly into an RV or boat power supply. And we've got two cellular antennas and two Wi-Fi antennas. I'll show you what you're going to plug all these into. So this is the MAX BR1 Mark II. It actually, definitely does externally. Looks to be basically the same physical external case as the original MAX BR1. Metal, rugged, designed to be mounted to a wall. And on this side here, we've got two Wi-Fi antenna hookups. DC power connection. It can take 10 to 30 volts DC, so you can wire it to just about anything. You can also use these little clamps and wire directly without using this splice here. Two Ethernet ports, a LAN port and a WAN port. And what's one of the new things here is this is actually gigabit Ethernet ports, both of these, as the older one was just fast Ethernet. So 10 times faster raw Ethernet port capability. And then over here on the other side, we have cellular, the two cellular antennas for a MIMO hookup, and a GPS antenna so that you can actually use this for vehicle tracking, and via their firmware you can use this like a LoJack and see where things are. And then under here, screwdriver. There we go. Boop. And yes, just like the original MAX BR1, one of our favorite features is, even though it is a singular cellular modem, it has two SIM slots. So you can have basically an active SIM and a standby SIM. So if you have a Verizon cellular connection and AT&T is your fallback, you can have it loaded up with both of them and easily via the software interface either manually switch between your primary and your secondary carrier, or you can automatically fail. If one connection goes down, you can have it switch to its backup carrier. This is really nice. It's a lot easier than fumbling around with swapping SIM cards manually if you've got this tucked away in a tech cabinet, or having to swap out what's consumer hotspot is plugged into a router. So having everything in one box is really nice for a lot of people. So what makes this different from the original MAX BR1? The biggest change, the biggest upgrade is the cellular modem inside. So the original MAX BR1 is kind of long in the tooth. It was a Category 3 LTE modem, which means it had peak theoretical cellular speeds of 100 megabits down and 50 megabits up. This is a Cat 6 LTE modem that has peak theoretical LTE speeds of 300 megabits down and 50 up. And it achieves this by having support for LTE advanced carrier aggregation. So it can actually connect to multiple LTE bands at once, which we found can often actually both improve your coverage and your speed. And all the carriers are now rolling out LTE advanced technology. So much more advanced LTE modem inside of this, and supports for more LTE bands. In particular, the old BR1 did not support band 12, which is hugely important for T-Mobile. Did not support band 30, which is increasingly important on AT&T. This supports both of those now, as well as several other additional international bands. The bands this one does not support, though, it's still a bit behind some of the other consumer hotspots. It does not support T-Mobile's newest bands, LTE band 71, the 600 megahertz expansion. So you're going to be missing out on T-Mobile's future expansion. It's a bummer. And it does not support LTE band 66, the new AWS bands that all the carriers are going to be doing a little bit of expansion on over the year ahead. So it's a big step up from the old BR1, but still not as universal as we'd like. But there's no hotspots out that support band 71 yet anyway. The other thing is on the Wi-Fi front. This is another big step up. We already talked about the gigabit Ethernet ports, so much better for building your local network around wired-wise. But for your local wireless network, the original BR1 just supported 802.11n with a single antenna, no internal Wi-Fi MIMO, so it's peaked at, I believe, probably 150 megabits per second for the local Wi-Fi. So it was a slow local network, and if you wanted to share files locally, not just over your cellular connection, that was could really crimp your style. This now has 802.11 AC, much faster local networking over both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So dual band, faster local networking, much faster. So should be a better device to be the heart of a network, as well as a better device for connecting upstream. Now, Pepwave is keeping the older MAX BR1 around as the MAX BR1 Classic, and they're keeping the price the same, $549. This one, they're raising the price. The Mark II is $150 more, so it goes from $549 to $699. That makes this a pricey bit of technology. But if you factor in, if you had two top-of-the-line mobile hotspots for two carriers, that'd be $200 each would be list price for a hotspot. It's $400 there, plus say like a Pepwave Soho router to bring them together and share that connection. That's pushing towards another $200. You're getting up there in price versus one integrated device. So depending on your needs, you got to decide the trade-offs, and is an integrated box worth it? Downside of an integrated box is it's hard to upgrade this. You can't upgrade the modem. You might have to wait another 2 years until Pepwave comes out with a new version of this. Then it's an entire replacement, as opposed to using hotspots and just adding a new external hotspot plugged in via USB. So integrated versus standalone devices, some trade-offs there. But overall, we've had the prior MAX BR1 has actually been our primary connectivity device in our bus for years. It's been rock solid and reliable. We love switching between carriers. We love having it all integrated together. It's now very excited to see what's possible with something that is a major step up both on the Wi-Fi and cellular front. Okay. So here is the MAX BR1 Mark II assembled with all its antennas. Or you can use something like a mobile mark or a roof-mounted antenna to put all of these. Actually, it's kind of mates perfectly with a 5-in-1 mobile mark as a roof-mounted antenna to put all this up on a roof easily. Interesting looking device. The main alternative now to the MAX BR1 and the same product category would be the Pepwave, the Cradlepoint COR IBR900. It's another, Pepwave and Cradlepoint are the two commercial grade routers that we look at, and they're both pricey. The Cradlepoint COR IBR900 is more expensive, starts at $999. $890. Starts at $899. But it does have one very, very important feature that this does not have. It also has the cellular LTE-A modem, but it also has a USB port so that you can still tether to hotspots and USB modems. So it does give you a bit more future upgrade ability internally just by plugging in a new USB modem to it. We're going to be taking a look at the Cradlepoint COR IBR900 versus the Pepwave MAX BR1 Mark II. Seeing how they perform, how the features compare. They both have great reputations. We have members of our site who have reported good things with the Cradlepoint, which has been out for a while now, and with the past version of the Pepwave. And now we'll see how the new version of the Pepwave stacks up. So now the test results and our reviews and details of this, we'll be sharing them with our members of our site. This is the mobile internet aficionados, who are the members who support our site and make all of our work possible. So if you are interested in following along and seeing all this, please consider joining at themobileinternetinfo.com.